Very good morning to everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Sandton Amateur Radio Club Bulletin on this Sunday morning, the 17th of August, 2025. Very close to spring now. I've got blossoms coming up on my peach tree. Yeah, a lovely morning, cloudy yesterday, but anyway, yes. You are listening to the club station of Sandton Amateur Radio Club, ZS6STN, which is operated today from the Shack of Richard, ZR6 Delta Echo in Kensington, Johannesburg. This club bulletin is broadcast every Sunday at 8:45 local time on the following frequencies: 145/700 MHz FM in the 2-meter band, 7115 MHz lower side band in the 40-meter band via relay from the Shack of Knowles ZR6DX, and on Echolink ZS6STN-R, as well as various linked repeaters on the ZA All-Star Net. And for those of you who may have missed the bulletin, the recordings are uploaded to the club's YouTube channel on www.youtube.com/@ZS6STN, together with the recordings of the club's Power Hour Tech Talks as well. Thanks, Keith. You do a fantastic job about sorting that out. The agenda for the bulletin today is club birthdays and club news, the SARL news, special topic of interest, and call-ins and swap shop on 40 meters and 2 meters. Right, it's now time to move on to members' birthdays for the week ahead. Today, the 17th of August, is the birthday of Gerrit van Heestian, ZS6GBH, our RAE manager. Gert Human and ZS6GPH, Gert Human, ZS6GPH celebrates his birthday tomorrow, and Hans Capers, ZS6HRK, on the 23rd. Congratulations and best wishes on the celebration of your birthdays. And now some club news. Okay, club news. I know that Gerrit was very busy with HF assessments for the students yesterday, and with the help of Mark, ZS6MDX, and Pete, ZS6HI, who also generously offered the use of his GPH to the students for the assessment. If one of them would like to come in and say a few words, ZS6STN is standing by.
ZS6 Hotel India.
Morning, Keith. Thanks very much for coming back to me. I think you had a very successful day yesterday with all the students making their contacts, making the required number of contacts. But over to you, ZS6STN, standing by.
Thank you, Richard, and coming through loud and clear to my QTH here in Fourways, Johannesburg. We started at about just after 9 yesterday morning with, I think there were seven students with us here. Mark, ZS6MDX, and Gerrit, ZS6GVH, were on site with myself, and we took the students through the HF assessment theory, and it's not theory, it's really more about the practical elements, so all the connectors and the types of antennas and operating procedures, and then they did get on air to make their 5 contacts, and it was quite interesting. The bands were a little bit up and down yesterday, very overcast, but we were operating a field station in a front yard field station here, using a little G90 Zygu on 20 watts, and we made a number of contacts around into KZN and Gauteng, and the guys managed to achieve all their contacts. So a very big thank you to those who stood by and turned their radios on and made contacts. There were a number of Santonites who came on specifically to allow the students to make those contacts, as well as a big thank you to the East Rand Club, because they were Stephen is ZS6SKY and Wayne ZS6ORB were also standing by to make contacts with all the students. So a very big thank you to everyone for doing that. And then we finished off fairly late in the afternoon. It did take a while to go through all of the exercise, but I think everyone had a great time and everyone got through their HF assessment, which is the most important. So those students who haven't managed to do it yet, there will be another opportunity later, and Gerrit will communicate with those, or if they are doing it elsewhere around the country because of their jurisdiction, then they will get that done before the exam. So now we've got to just submit all the paperwork. But it was a good day yesterday to all on frequency. Back to you, Richard. ZS6STN, ZS6HI.
Super, Keith. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, very well done there. I think getting the HF assessments done with the students is very important because that builds their confidence and also takes a bit of pressure off towards the end of the process when they're cramming for the exam. In any case, thank you very much to you and your team for getting them sorted out yesterday. In other club news, I'm putting together a set of tools for club members to use at field days and antenna builds. In addition to hand tools, basic hand tools, I want to put in a coax scrimper and other items that we seldom use but are very handy to have available. Members will have access to the tools at the monthly club meeting as well as other events. I'm still comparing what's available and prices and so on, but we should have some items just in time for the next club meeting at CJ's. So come along and make suggestions on what else we should include. Does anyone in the club, does anyone else have club news or news that may be of interest to those on frequency? Please call in now. ZS6STN is now listening.
ZR6DX, good morning.
Morning, Noel. Please take a round.
Good morning to all and all listeners this morning. Just to let you know, we're not going out in 40 meters this morning. There are stations on 7.115 this morning, so guys, please forgive me. I've been listening for the last 15-20 minutes or so, and of course there's a lot of stations operating on 7.115 for the Lighthouse contest. So unfortunately there won't be anything ongoing this morning on 40 meters. So guys, let's hopefully we see you next weekend. Okay, that's all, Richard, from my side. Back to you. ZS6STN, operated by ZR6 Delta Echo from ZR6DX.
Great, thanks very much for that update. Noel, I did get your WhatsApp just as I started Bulletin, so I missed that. But thank you very much for the update. And yes, we'll be doing our 40-meter relay again next weekend, I'm sure. Let's move on now to the South African Radio League News Bulletin for Sunday, 17 August 2025. Orion Primary School to have a QSO with the ISS. A direct contact has been scheduled between the International Space Station and the Orion Primary School in Alberton. The event will take place from 12:24:55 until 12:35:49 Central African Time on Tuesday, 26 August 2025, and the call sign for the event will be ZS9 Lima Sierra Oscar. The event will be live streamed via YouTube to all neighboring schools in Alberton, affording hundreds of children the opportunity to be part of this once-in-a-lifetime experience. The Alberton Amateur Radio Interest Group will be providing the technical support. The setting up of the station at the school will start on Friday, 22 August, with final testing of communication and streaming systems on Monday, 25 August. A field station will also be established on Friday, broadcasting on 40 meters, further demonstrating amateur radio as a hobby to the youth. This station will be active on 22, 25 and the morning of 26th of August. For more information, contact Gerrit, ZS6CRS, by email, zs6crs@gmail.com. Very well done there, Gerrit. I know you were involved in getting the same sort of contact arranged for the foot trekkers during COVID, and it unfortunately didn't happen then. But very well done. Great to see us club members getting involved. Right, a change to the calendar. It has been decided to move the ZS SOTA Activity Week forward one weekend in the 2025 diary of events. It is shown the weekend of 20 and 21 September, but the ZS SOTA team has decided the weekend of the 13th and 14th of September would be more suitable. The European SOTA Day takes place on Saturday, 13th September as well. So all the SOTA activators, start making your plans for activating summits on 13 and 14 December. 13 and 14 September. Join the ZS SOTA WhatsApp group to get the latest information. The weekly SARL News. The SARL News team ensures that there is an English and Afrikaans bulletin every week. There are 3 bulletin writers, 3 English proofreaders, 2 Afrikaans proofreaders, 4 English recorders, and 4 Afrikaans recorders. No, not 16 people, but only 12. So there's a vacancy for an Afrikaans proofreader, as an Englishman is doing it at this stage. Aye, that's what they're saying. We invite clubs and individuals to submit news items of interest to radio amateurs and shortwave listeners, both in English and Afrikaans if possible, by uploading the news items at https://mysarl.org.za/news-inbox/ or easier probably sending the items to news@sarl.org.za no later than the Friday morning preceding the bulletin date. This allows the bulletin writer time to compile the bulletin and send it for proofreading and then to the recorders. Please do not send news items by WhatsApp. Make use of the 2 options mentioned above. The email, I'll repeat, is news@sarl.org.za. Here's an invitation to the various clubs around the country. Please provide news items of your club activities, meetings, boot sales, field days, build-a-thon, RACHF assessments, etc. There may be visitors to your area who would like to join in. The text bulletins are uploaded to, I'm going to shorten this, mysarl.org.za/SARL-news, and the audio bulletins are uploaded to sarlnews.podbean.com on a Saturday afternoon. You'll also find the Amateur Radio Today podcast on the Podbean site on Sundays. SARL and AMSET SA held a successful Meet Your Scatter Communications webinar. It was last Monday. The SARL, in cooperation with AMSAT SA, held a successful webinar to promote Meet Your Scatter Communication amongst South African radio amateurs. The webinar was led by Eric Gravett, ZS5Y, with a guest presentation by Frank Schneider, ZS6GE. A video of the webinar will be available early next week on the AMSAT SA YouTube channel. For details, visit www.amsatsa.org.za. The first few videos of presentations at the 2025 AMSAT SA Space Symposium have already been posted on the AMSAT SA web pages. ARRL books. A limited number of the ARRL books are available locally from the SA Amateur Radio Development Trust online bookshop. For details and an order form, visit amateurradio.org.za. Another repeater for Polokwane. It is with great joy that we announce the second Polokwane repeater license, sponsored by the West Rand, has been issued. The call sign for this repeater is ZU0PLY and is located on Easterberg, which is a SOTA fleet, SOTA ZS-LP-107. The repeater transmits on 439.150 megahertz, and the input is 7.6 megahertz lower at 431.550 megahertz. There's no tone mentioned there. We hope this is a positive start to the Sandton Amateur Radio Club revival, and that the new Polokwane repeaters will join the ZA All-Star Net in due time. In contest news, the third and final contest of the SARL HF contest is the HFCW contest, and it will be on the air from 1400 to 1700 UTC on Sunday, 24 August, with activity on 80, 40 and 20 meters. The exchange is a realistic RST report and a consecutive serial number starting at 001. You can participate as a single operator, single radio, single band, or a single operator, single radio, all band station, or your club can participate as a multi-operator, single band or multi-operator, all band station. In each case, there is a YL or youth overlay as well. For 1 point for each QSO, 2 points for each call area worked on each band. There are 9 call areas and 2 points for each station contacted on all 3 bands. Submit your login ADIS, Cabrillo or MSXL by 2200 UTC Friday 29 August 2025 by email to contest@sarl.org.za. Find the news in the 2025 SRL contest manual, HF Happenings 1158, and also pages 16 and 17 of the August Radio ZS. Looking ahead, the weekend of 6 and 7 September is going to be busy with the IARU Region 1 Field Day, the SARL National Field Day, and the SARL VHF UHF FM contest. The propagation report, Hannes Kritzier, ZS6STN, ZP, reports that the solar activity is expected to be at low levels during the week. There are currently 15 sunspot regions with simple to slightly complex magnetic configurations visible. There is a high probability for C-class and a low to moderate probability for M-class solar flares. If you want to do your own frequency predictions, the expected effective sunspot number for the week will be around 87. The 30 to 15 meter bands may provide some DX fun. Please visit the website spaceweather.sansa.org.za for further information. Finally, a diary of some upcoming events. Today is the International Lighthouse and Lightship Weekend. 18 to 25 August is the Region 1 Yota Summer Camp. 20th of August is the SARL Wednesday 18-bit Club Contest. 24 August is the SARL HFCW Contest. The 26th of August is when the Alberton ISS event takes place. 27th of August is the Sandton Power Tower Hour Tech Talk. On the 30th of August is the Westgrad Boot Sale. And then moving on to September the 6th and 7th is the Region 1 Field Day, the SARL National Field Day, and the SARL VHF UHF FM contest. And then on the 7th of September is a lunar eclipse over South Africa. So, we invite clubs and individuals to submit news items of interest to radio amateurs and shortwave listeners in both English and Afrikaans if possible by uploading the news to the website or sending the items to news@sarl.org.za no later than Friday morning preceding the bulletin date. Right, that was some extracts from the SARL News Bulletin, which was written by Andy Kearns, ZS680Y, and proofread by Paul Johnson, ZS1S. Finally, today's topic of interest. Quantum gravimeter provides GPS backup on Australian ships, the device that gave continuous navigation for 6 days. This is an article by Teresa Fultranova, a London-based journalist specializing in aerospace and defense technologies, and it was published on the IEEE Spectrum website, not the SAIE, but in any case. A novel quantum sensor that measures gravity changes by detecting variations in the travel time of falling atoms has been tested in a first-of-its-kind experiment aboard an Australian naval ship. The sensor, a dual gravimeter, has been developed by Australian company CTRL, I'm guessing that's pronounced Q Control, and it could reach the market in late 2026. During the tests on board the Royal Australian Navy's aviation training vessel MV Sycamore, the device provided 144 hours without GPS access. According to Michael J. Bierkuk, Q Control CEO and founder, the test marked the first time such a sensor was used in a practical scenario aboard a moving vehicle. The trouble with GPS, quantum gravimetry is among the plethora of technologies that are being developed to serve as a backup for global navigation satellite systems, or GNSSs, such as GPS. With the rise in conflict and geopolitical tensions all over the world, GNSS jamming and spoofing, so confusing users with fake satellite signals, has become an everyday problem in many areas of the world. In May, a 300-meter-long container ship ran aground in the Red Sea, reportedly because of GPS interference. Analyst data revealed the ship's GPS position following the incident appeared hundreds of miles away from its actual spot somewhere in the Sahara Desert. The incident underscored the growing vulnerability of GPS, a service of the U.S. government, which is indispensable not only for the transport sector, but also for many other industries, including banking, power grid synchronization, and offshore drilling. Maritime users all over the world have long been relying on inertial navigation systems as a backup to GPS, but these systems have their limitations. They depend on accelerometers and gyroscopes to track the speed and motion direction changes of a vehicle. Their reliability, however, decreases with the distance traveled as tiny errors accumulate, causing an increasing gap between the reported and actual position. Quantum gravity sensors, Bierkak said, don't suffer from this problem. The system uses the strength of the Earth's gravity in every given part of the journey, from the motion of the atoms illuminated by laser beams inside a vacuum chamber, and then compares that data with gravity maps compiled from satellite measurements. This is not dissimilar to some of the new visual navigation systems that are emerging, Bierkak said. If you put a camera on a drone and look at the ground, you can identify hills and valleys and buildings and then do map matching. We're doing the same thing, except that the set of eyes we're using to see the Earth comes from these quantum sensors. The quantum solution. Despite the planet's relatively spheroid shape, the Earth's gravitational pull is not uniform. It differs based on the distribution of mass inside the planet, but also reflects the features of the landscape, such as hills and valleys, and the differences in density of the minerals underground. In addition to the superb accuracy, quantum gravity sensor is also unjammable and unspoofable. You can't spoof gravity without literally moving a mountain, says Bierkak. The passive nature of the sensor, which doesn't require active signal emissions, unlike LiDAR or radar-based systems, helps defense users avoid detection by the adversary. The prototype system, tested off the Australian coast, is about the size of a server rack, but Bierkak hopes new controls engineers will be able to further shrink it to about the size of a small fridge before taking it to the market next year. The development took about 14 months, he said, and challenged the team once they began experimenting with the sensor outside their lab. These sensors are extraordinarily sensitive, and when you take them from a pristine laboratory environment to anything less than pristine, the whole world conspires against you, said Bierkak. Mechanical vibrations, radio interference, and the movements of the vessel in all directions create noise, which completely obscures the signal. The new control team solves the problem through a complex software solution that filters out the unwanted noise. Despite the promising performance, Bierkak doesn't think that the quantum gravimeters could ever completely replace satellite navigation for any kind of users. But in addition to areas suffering from GPS interference, the system could help ships navigating around polar regions where GPS is notoriously unreliable due to the geometry of the satellite orbit. GPS is a very good technology when you can trust it, said Bierkak. But for the situations where you can't or where it's not available, you need a robust alternative. Right. Does anyone have any thoughts or comments on today's topic of interest? ZS6STN is now listening.
ZS6HI?
Keith, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Richard, and to all on frequency. I I remember the Tech Talk topic last week, and was on those sensors, on all the, the quantum sensors. And I think this goes closely in relation to it, the gravimetric sensors and so on. Very interesting topic of conversation, and I don't know where this is going to go, but obviously it has lots of ramifications and extensions that can be added on once we get to grips with all of these things. Thank you very much, Richard. Enjoyed the Tech Talk. ZS6STN, ZS6HI.
Great, thanks very much, Keith. Any other comments? ZS6STN, standing by.
ZR1 Whiskey Tango.
Morning, Stuart, please take a round.
ZS6STN, ZR1WT. Yeah, I just had a laugh when you said you can't spoof it by moving a mountain or something. Thought that was quite cute, very apt. I enjoyed it. Thanks very much, Richard. ZS6STN, ZR1WT.
All right, well, thank you to everyone out there for listening and for your interest and participation this morning. We trust that you've enjoyed the bulletin, and please feel free to contribute ideas, comments, or any constructive criticism to info@zs6stn.org.za. As always, thank you to the stations that assisted with relays and those who contributed content from time to time. I know we didn't have a relay today, but that was just unfortunate circumstances. So please join us again next Sunday at 8:45 Central African Time for the regular bulletin of the Sandton Amateur Radio Club. This brings to a close the weekly club bulletin of the Sandton Amateur Radio Club, ZS6STN, today operated by ZR6 Delta Echo. Thank you to all, and 7.3 ZS6STN now relinquishes all frequencies for general use. 7.3 everyone.